Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So today I wanted to talk with you about these brush markers that I've been trying recently. Art and Fly sent these over for me to try about a month or so ago, and I've been testing them out since then. So thank you so much to Art and Fly, by the way, for sponsoring this video and for supporting my channel. I really appreciate it. I also always give my honest opinion, so let's jump right into this. I also do want to mention a little bit about the piece that I'm working on today. So this art is actually inspired by the concept of a cactus mama. So she's a sort of Mother Earth figure for cacti. She's prickly and she's fierce and she's a fiery mama bear and she wants to protect her cactus babies. But she's also beautiful and she's loving and she's full of energy and she's full of life. I'm really into this idea of incorporating plant motifs in my artwork right now, and I kind of liked the idea of personifying a plant. So this really played on some of those ideas. And I also wanted to work with a color palette that highlighted some of the specific colors that were sent to me. And since I was sent like a purple tone set, I decided to use a lot of purples and pinks to contrast with the greens and create more of a desert-y sunset look. So now that you've heard a little bit about what to expect in what I'm working on, the actual artwork, let's talk about the markers and how they performed and all of that. So I'm going to start with more of the description of the actual, like what the markers are. So on their website, they come in a few different sets. I got the 24 brush tip set. I also got the blue tones, the purple tones, and some lighter toned skin colors. So I think they're packaged quite nicely. The 24 tone set came in this nice cardboard box that I've been using to keep the markers in, which has been very helpful. They're also shaped more like hexagonally than round, so they don't roll off the desk. One side is a chisel nib and the other side is a brush nib, which, hooray, hallelujah. If I don't have a brush nib, I'm not going to use a marker, like pure, So the pens, they all have individual color numbers on the caps, which is so useful. There's some brands that don't do this, and it's so hard to identify what the markers are, so props for that. And the ones that I received retail for between $25 and $15 on average, and there should be links in the description box down below for all of the products that I used in this video. So one of the things that made me really interested in reviewing these markers was the fact that they are refillable and the nibs are able to be replaced. So that was kind of really big for me because this is something that I haven't really seen that often outside of some of the like really big name brands, especially not for markers at this price point. So if you know my channel, you know that I have a really heavy focus on finding good and affordable art supplies, especially for the kind of amateur artist. Especially like right now, I feel like people that are in their 20s, that is kind of a hard time for artists, you're not in school anymore, but you're wanting to create good pieces, but like none of us have any money. So I have a heavy focus on finding affordable art supplies. So I think this makes a really good option for those of you who really love using alcohol markers and you use them frequently, but you just can't justify the cost of some of the other options that are out there. I haven't tried refilling the markers or changing the nibs personally myself yet, so I don't know how hard or easy it is. If you have these markers and you've tried that, let me know down below. I would love to hear. I don't have the refills. I do have some actual nibs, but I haven't changed any yet. I do love that that is an option though. So honestly, I enjoyed these markers from the moment that I started testing blending them. So I started out by swatching them and then I tried them on a bunch of different papers that I have a lot of different marker papers, and the one that worked best for my personal style was my tried and true Bristol board, and that's what I end up using for literally every marker I ever use. I just find the performance is really good. Most of the markers were pretty juicy. Some were more juicy than others, and there were a couple that went down a little streaky on the first coat, but they covered really smoothly once they warmed up. So I did have a couple splatters from some markers upon opening, which is something that I find you just need to watch for with really juicy markers. I didn't use the chisel nib much. Honestly, I just don't use chisel nibs, but when I tested it, it performed about the same as other chisel nibs. But like I said, I just don't use them, so I mostly focused on the brush side. The brush tip is really fine and you're able to get a really decent point, and small lines, obviously for super, super fine lines, you'll still want to use a fine liner of some sort. They did send me some fine liners as well, and I did test those out. I found them to be very resistant to the markers. They didn't smudge under the markers at all, even when you tried yellow. I find that yellow is a big culprit. If you want to see if your fine liner will smudge under your marker, test it under yellow, because yellow will show every single smudge. But I've been really moving away from using black lines in my art right now, so I didn't incorporate them in this video. The big thing that I noticed about the brush nib is that it's a lot softer than some of the other brush nibs I've tried. It's not as stiff. So that can be something that you like or dislike. It's really going to depend on your style and your technique, how hard you press on the markers and that sort of thing. To me, I view that as the difference between what kind of brush you like. Some people like brushes with a lot more spring, like a synthetic brush. Some people like brushes that are a lot more soft and mop-like. So it really is just going to depend on your style, whether that's something that you jive with or not. But I really enjoyed them. I felt like I had quite a bit of control, and I felt like I could get really nice flicks with the marker, getting really nice points with it. So that was really, really useful for the hair. Color wise, I felt like the selection was quite nice. I didn't get the entire color selection. They do have, I think it's like an 80 something set online. But the ones that I got were a pretty nice selection. The thing that is important to me was not just the color range, but the kind of depth and individuality of the colors. So basically these colors ranged from really vibrant to really dark to true pastels and to true pale colors, as well as more muted colors. And that's what I'm looking for in a marker set, because that's what I need to achieve a good range in my picture. You don't want everything to be all super bright and saturated. You're gonna need some really pale colors. You're gonna need some more muted tones. So I really appreciated that. And also, there were more muted colors that weren't just gray. A lot of times it's just gray for them kind of muted colors. So that was nice to work with as well. There were a couple colors in there that were similar to each other, but I didn't find that there was anything that was overly redundant. The thing that stood out to me the most about these markers was actually the blending. And like I said, I enjoyed these markers from the moment that I started testing blending them. And that's because I found that these markers blended easier than almost any other marker that I've ever tried. Blending felt so easy, and I could lift color if I wanted, and I could build it. I felt like I could really work with the pigment, and it felt so easy. There were a couple moments that I kind of got myself into a corner and muddied things up because I wasn't necessarily planning ahead the way I should have with marker, but for the most part, I found them so easy to blend and to layer, and I liked, it came with a colorless blender as well, which was quite nice. And the colorless blender worked well in that you could use it for longer periods to kind of lift up color, but you could also use it to blend colors without disturbing them too much if you use more of a light hand. So the blending was it was honestly a dream, and it was definitely by far my absolute favorite thing about them. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything in terms of my thoughts of the markers. Overall, I honestly loved them. I really appreciated that I was able to test them for like a month before sharing this with you guys, because I take a lot of care to only promote products that I actually enjoy and use on this channel. And I liked these enough that I want to do marker art again. And that's pretty exciting to me, honestly. I haven't wanted to do marker art in a really long time. So I am really excited to work with these markers again. And I think that if you're, like I said, if you're someone who does make a lot of marker art, or if you want to get back into marker art, or you want to try to take it a little bit more seriously and the expense of it is a barrier to you, then I really do think that these could be an amazing option. I really hope that you guys liked this video, and I hope that you found this review helpful. I am honestly, I'm low-key in love with how this art turned out as well. So I really hope that you liked it. I love the little cactus mama idea. I did finish it up with some Prismacolor colored pencils, like I almost always do, whether it's watercolor or marker. I am obsessed with putting my Prismacolor pencils on top of everything. I just think it's so great for adding like fine little lines and defining things without putting in like harsh fine liner lines. And yeah, let me know if anyone would like prints of this or anything like that, because I'm thinking about selling them. And has anyone else tried these markers? Let me know down below. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Just share your opinions. I would love to hear them. I'm personally psyched to use them again myself, so maybe expect some more marker art in here. Let me know if you want to see more marker art, or you're like, no, we've moved on. It's not 2016 anymore. Make more watercolors. I don't know. If you like this video, then don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. It really does help me out. And subscribe if you'd like to. I put out new videos every Tuesday and Friday. Thanks so much for watching. I love you guys so much. And as always, have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys.